Hello everyone, I'm Steed. Now let me introduce you to Huawei Mobile Service. Huawei Mobile Service, HMS for short. It's the open capabilities of Huawei Cloud Service which can help developers build quality apps efficiently. Today we're going to talk about the IAP of HMS, which is based on HMS 4.0. IAP is short for In-App Purchases. This video will help you to get to know Huawei's IAP capabilities quickly, and ultimately integrates the IAP into your own app for online payment. There are 3 stages in realizing this goal. 1. Understand the concept of Huawei IAP and what IAP can bring developers from a macro perspective. 2. Make preparations before the use of Huawei IAP, which will be listed later. Developers may learn about them together with the official website of Huawei Developer Services. 3. After watching the segment on IAP interfaces, developers will be able to clarify the interactive process between the app and IAP server and independently develop the payment requirements. Huawei IAP has always upheld the mission of helping developers with a global rapid commercial realization. After accessing to IAP, you can have IAP develop complex logic and payment process, and focus on product innovation and experience improvement. Huawei IAP is characterized by 3 features. 1. Gathering the global mainstream payment methods. The popular Huawei Pay, Visa, MasterCard, payment by communication account highly favored by the Middle Eastern and European clients, and the local payment methods like open banking in Britain and ideal in Netherlands. 2. Wide coverage. As of November 2019, Huawei IAP has been certified in about 140 countries across the world. The figure is still on the rise. 3. More convenient payment service experience, such as product management system, order omission preventing system, enhanced product subscription, and sandbox mode for convenient testing of developers. Huawei IAP is compliant with GDPR and certified by the high level of PCI DSS. Huawei is confident in and capable of product compliance, and developers can rest assured and have the products rapidly sellable across the world after accessing IAP. For globally oriented apps, Huawei has provided PMS product management system for pricing of global products. For instance, we have released a globally oriented rating app which allows Huawei users registered in China to see price information in RMB and Huawei users registered in Thailand to see price information in THB after opening the app. That's because Huawei's PMS can automatically select the product name, currency type, and price information to be displayed according to the service area of the current account, so as to simplify the app release and maintenance of developers. After the developers define the product price on the PMS, the price will be recalculated as per the exchange rate in different regions. Hence, developers will no longer have to maintain multiple original versions for the same app. In a word, PMS can realize global automatic pricing after it's accessed. As of November 2019, PMS had supported 195 price levels and local currency pricing in about 140 countries. At the mention of order service, you must be aware that it's used to manage payment orders, in addition to the regular functions of creation, query, obtaining, and deletion. The IAP server can manage the status of each order. What is the benefit of the status management? It's a solution to an industry problem, order omission. Let me first clarify what order omission is. An order omission is no delivery after the order is paid by the user due to the synchronization problem of the app and the payment server. That's a huge problem. The regular solution is passive verification and refund initiation by customer service personnel after user files a complaint, such as unpleasant experience may lead to user loss. Yet the IAP can realize no order omission. That's how it works. In developer's app, the IAP interface is called to unique paid orders of consumables on the server, and the server will screen out the paid and unfilled orders and feed them back to the app. The app will then display the unfilled orders as per the query result and update the order status on the server after order delivery. Here is an introduction to the 3 product types involving Huawei IAP. Firstly, consumables. There are disposable items, invalid immediately after consumption and subject to further purchases, such as extra HP and diamonds in games. Secondly, non-consumables. They can be permanently owned after a single purchase, such as game level and skin in games. Lastly, subscriptions. They can allow the users to access to value-added contents within a certain period of time, subject to automatic renewal after expiration of the subscription period, such as monthly membership in video software. Now, let's focus on IAP's enforced subscription services for subscriptions. The goal of subscription services is to help developers obtain loyal users and a sustainable and steady income. For this, Huawei has provided a set of subscription plans. Preferential price is offered during the promotion period to attract the product purchases by users. That's the process from 0 to 1. If users enjoy the use experience, they will choose to pay and developers can receive sustainable income. As users get to know and fall for the products, they may become dependent on the products and turn into high-value users. Developers can then set conditions like subscription period to screen out these high-value users and launch new targeted business events. In case of change of the user subscription status, the IAP will send important subscription events like subscription and subscription cancellation to the developer so that the developer can analyze the global sales performance of the subscriptions and continuously optimize the experience. Here is the subscription service framework chart. Let's see what subscription services Huawei offers. 1. Subscription relations, as in subscription product management. 2. Level strategies for subscriptions, level up, level down, and cross-level. Developers may divide the value-added services as per level and sell them to different user groups. 3. Subscription price. The price of subscriptions can be dynamically adjusted. 4. Subscription promotion, as in promotion price to be set by the operation team, free and discount supported currently. 5. Subscription notice. Through collecting key information like first subscription and automatic renewal of subscription, developers can quickly learn about the impact from recent modifications to the app. 6. Subscription report. The data report of product subscription can give developers an idea about sales performance. Developers can simply access the subscription services and set the product information in PMS to enjoy the above-mentioned enforced subscription services. Here is the second chapter, HMS Training Camp. There are 2 sections. Section 1. Demo Preview. The course comes with the demo app. We will talk about the functions and scenario settings of this demo app in this section. Section 2. Code Training, including pre-development preparation, a review on the interactive process of IAP, and a code introduction on the function realization of the demo app. Now, let's take a look at Section 1, Demo Preview. Let's suppose that a college student fond of reading has been drawn to the convenience of e-books recently and installed a reading app on his phone. After spotting an e-book he likes, he can immediately buy it via online payment and read it on his phone. After finishing the e-book, he shares his reviews, and others read the reviews and start to reward him with a virtual currency in the app. Greatly inspired, the college student wants a more personalized headshot so that others can immediately recognize him. Hence, he subscribes the VIP membership service. Through this simple scenario design, we have connected the payment process of consumables, non-consumables, and subscriptions together with product display and transaction history query. I'm going to systematically introduce the main applications of IAP. Now, let's see the demo app first. Open the app and we can see a navigation bar at the bottom of the window. There are three fragments: Books, Store, and Purchase History. At the top of the window, we can see the user headshot on the left, virtual currency icon and quantity on the right. After the app is started, the Books fragment is opened by default. That is the bookshelf displaying the e-books purchased. Now we switch to Book fragment. From top to bottom are consumables, unconsumables, and subscriptions. The consumables in demo app are kind of a virtual currency. When virtual currency is purchased, its number displayed on the upper right corner will increase. In the middle row are e-books, which are non-consumables. When the e-books are purchased, they will be displayed on the bookshelf. The last row are subscriptions. VIP membership. When VIP membership is purchased, the user headshot at the top of the window will be replaced with a VIP headshot until expiration of VIP membership. Next, we switch to the rightmost fragment. Purchase history. We can see that there are purchased products here. One row displays one order, including such information as transaction time, product name, product price, and transaction status. The information is obtained by calling the functional interface of IAP server. We will talk about it in detail later. Now we're going to check out the purchase operation. Let's start from consumables. We can see that the current quantity of virtual currency is 0. Click the product icon in Store for purchase, and the Huawei IAP cashier interface will pop up. And the sandbox test prompt has popped up as well. It means that this purchase is made in the sandbox test and is completed without actual payment. Huawei IAP supports multiple payment channels. We can choose Huawei Points payment here. It can be seen that the transaction is completed without actual payment, and the quantity of virtual currency has changed from 0 to 1. Now let's see how to buy non-consumables. An e-book, non-consumables, can be repurchased. We can click an e-book which has been purchased, but we can't purchase it. The IAP server will return a status, explaining that this product is owned by the user. Next, let's click an e-book which hasn't been purchased. Pull up the Huawei IAP cashier interface. Purchase succeeded. We can return to the bookshelf. One more book on the bookshelf, the newly purchased book. Lastly, let's try to purchase subscriptions. Back to the store fragment. Click the VIP icon and button. Pull up the Huawei IAP cashier interface. We can see that it's different from the purchase of the previous two product types. The user needs to confirm the subscription information. After the purchase is made, the user headshot at the top of the window turns into a VIP headshot. Click the headshot and we can see the subscription relations of the current Huawei user under this app. Switch to transaction history, and we can see 3 new purchase records: virtual currency, e-book, and VIP membership. That's all for the demo. Next, we will analyze how these functions are realized. Moving on, we're going to talk about Section 2, Code Training. Finally, we're going to see the codes. No hurry. Let's take a look at the payment business process first, so that we can have a clear idea about the payment process and prepare for the following code training. Take a consumables, for example. The business process is divided into 3 rows: user, app, and IAP server. 1. The user initiates the purchase of a product. 2. The purchase interface of IAP server is called with the parameters of product ID. 3. The IAP server responds to the purchase request, creates an order instant, and puts up the cashier interface to display it to the user. 4. The user selects the payment method and confirms the purchase. 5. The IAP server returns the purchase result. 6. The app judges the purchase result and delivers the product to the user if purchase succeeds. 7. The app initiates the order status update. 8. The IAP server responds to the update operation of the app and updates the order status as delivered. Next, let's talk about one of the characteristics of Huawei IAP, interactive process of order automation preventing system. An order automation generally takes place in step 6 of the above-down payment process. That's to say, the app has received the user payment success information sent from the IAP server. But an error in delivery has resulted in delivery failure and no initiation of order status update request to the IAP server. To payment this, developers need to first initiate the order status query request to the IAP server, which will return to the paid and unfilled consumables orders to the app initialization of the app. In this way, the app will be able to make up delivery for the user and promptly call the consumables interface after make-up delivery to update the order status in the IAP server. Otherwise, the IAP server will return the same order when the app is started next time. A purchase processing or consumables has a side difference from that of consumables. No need to call the consumables interface, which is used by the developer to synchronize the delivered order status to the IAP server. When a product is purchased by the user, this purchase will be recorded in a Huawei IAP and the product purchased will be considered owned. The products owned can be purchased via the purchase interface of IAP again, which conforms the characteristics of non-consumable. In case of consumables, the owned status will disallow the repurchase of the user. Hence, the developer will need to consumables interface to have the IAP server remove the owned status. So much about the consumables and non-consumables. Let's move on to the subscriptions. Here is a typical subscription handling process in IAP. A user purchased the VIP membership of a reading app one day. The developer calls IAP functional interface to check whether the subscription relation of this user is activated. The returned status from the IAP server is activated. The developer can provide the user with value-added services. For developer, the same interface is used for subscription purchase, but parameters for the product type are different. After purchase succeeds, the IAP server will deduct the charges periodically as per the user subscriptions. One more thing before we talk about the codes: preparations to make before official development. Do not make light of this segment with a poor environment of configurations. You may regretfully waste a lot of time. 4 steps for preparations. 1. Start the IAP server. 2. Configure product information. 3. Integrate HMS SDK. 4. Configure the sandbox test. Most of the configurations are within the scope of Huawei Cloud Service, and only step 3 involves the configuration of the developer's IDE. Here I am going to illustrate the highlights so that you can learn about the details together with the official website link. Step 1. Register as a Huawei developer and start the Huawei IAP in the App Gallery Connect AGC. The AGC is the console of the Huawei Cloud, designed to allow developers to create various configurations. Step 2. Complete product configurations via the PMS. As previously mentioned, developers will only have to access the PMS for the one time to realize global automatic pricing. Configurations include product name, product price, product type, and a product ID. It should be noted that the product ID is the only ID in the cloud and needs to be stored by developers on their own. That's because the production information to be interacted between the app and IAP server during subsequent payment function development is bound by the product ID. Step 3. Integrate the HMS SDK to your own Android Studio project. It includes configurations of two build, Gradle fields in project and module, and two AGC-related configurations. 1. The developer needs to generate the signature certificate fingerprint based on the app's signature file to verify the authenticity of the app when calling the cloud capabilities via Huawei HMS SDK. 2. Downloads the ACK Connect Services JSON file from AGC and add it to the Android Studio project files. More details about the steps can be seen in the following official website of Huawei Developer Services. Let's take a look at its location on the official website. Open the official website of Huawei Developer Services and move the mouse to Developer menu. We can see the In-App Purchases IAP in the drop-down menu. Open it. Then, click View Documents. This is Development Documents page. From the directory on the left, we can find In-App Purchases, App Development, Preparations. More details about the above three configuration steps can be viewed here. Here we can also see the sandbox test system, which will be elaborated soon. Alright, let's get back to the courseware. The final configuration is the previously mentioned sandbox test system. There are two steps. 1. Create the Huawei user account and log into it on the phone. 2. Add the account to the test account sequence in the AGC. If these two steps are completed, but the system hasn't switched to the sandbox test environment, please check whether software packages have been uploaded to the AGC. If yes, make sure that the currently tested app version number is higher than the previously uploaded app version number. The version number can be configured in the version name field of the build Gradle. The sandbox test system can bring a lot of convenience to developer. Firstly, this is no need for actual payment. Secondly, the test efficiency can be effectively enhanced in subscription test. As shown in the chart, the subscription with a 1-month period can be tested within 5 minutes to facilitate the developer's improvement of payment process. Lastly, the developer is expected to pay attention to the service territory of Huawei IAP. Finally, we are going to talk about the codes. Next, we will learn about how to use the several key functions of the payment process. The first function is Obtain Product Info. The developer may obtain the product detail from the Huawei IAP server from this interface. Why the product detail on the IAP server? This is the product information imported into the PMS by developer in advance. As can be seen from the flowchart, there are 3 steps to obtain product details. 1. File a request with the IAP server. It should be noted that this is an asynchronous process. 2. Extract the contents from the return information. 3. Refresh the contents to the UI. Now, let's take a look at how it's realized in the demo app accordingly. Let's first review the store interface. From top to bottom are 3 product types. This is the layout file of the store interface. The vertical layout is adopted from the root node. For the sake of illustration, each product type in the demo is displayed with one grid view. Each grid view is configured with a simple adapter. The data source is a list composed of hash maps. Each hash map represents one product. When filling a request to obtain product details with IAP server. Step 1. Obtain the land client instance and get activity as parameters. Step 2. Create the production info request instance. It involves the assignment of two member variables of product info request. The price type refers to consumables, non-consumables, and subscriptions, with which we are familiar. The SCOTS is array list of the string type. A set of a product ID will be placed here when a request is sent. We have emphasized the concept of product ID previously. We can see that the product ID of all products have been stored by the demo and assigned to SCOTS according to the product type. It can be seen that the acquisition interface of product details is based on the product type and product ID provided by the developer. When the developer needs to obtain the information of multiple product types at a time, the query interface needs to be called separately for each type. That's all for preparatory work. Now move on to step 3. File a request with the server and handle the returned result. It can be seen that we have set two callback listeners in the task returned by the interface. The onSuccess listener can obtain the data returned by success scenarios, and the onFailure listener returns the exception object, including request failure related information. Let's see how to handle the success scenarios. The interface returns the execution result of the product info request in task. When we call the product info request, it will return the list of product info type. Here we take each product info instance from the list and assign interested attributes to newly created hash map. The product info covers all attributes of a product, but only product name, product price, and product will be handled in the demo. According to product ID, we add the corresponding photo resources of each product to the hash map, including the icons of ebooks, virtual currency, and VIP membership. Finally, we assign the corresponding data source of grid view based on product type and refresh the UI. So we take each SCOT detail from the list and assign the interested attributes to the newly created hash map and assign to the corresponding grid view data source as per product type and refresh the UI. Next, let's see how to handle the failure scenarios. In onFailure listener, you will need to judge whether the exception object called back is a land API exception object, and then handle the scenarios according to the error information. The demo will only print out the information returned from getStatus code, and the developer can add their own error handling code here. That's all for the obtain product info function. The second function to be introduced is create purchase intent, which is the interface for creating orders for products in the PMS. The figure shows the context of using create purchase intent. 1. The user starts product purchase. 2. The create purchase intent interface is called to create an order. 3. The IAP server returns the execution result in the type of purchase intent result. 4. The developer calls the start resolution for result interface to pull up the Huawei cache register interface. 5. The IAP server shows the Huawei cache register interface to the user, waiting for the user's confirmation. 6. The user selects a payment method and confirms the purchase. 7. The developer processes the purchase result in activities on activity result. 8. The developer verifies the data signature in the purchase details. 9. After the purchase is complete, the app starts product delivery. 10. The developer calls the consume-owned purchase method to synchronize the delivery status to the IAP server. 11. The IAP server returns the execution result of the consume-owned purchase method. Let's see the product purchase process in demo. When a store interface initializes 3 grid wheels, an on-item click listener is set for each grid wheel to listen to the user's click on a certain product in the grid wheel. The above-mentioned obtain product info function has stored the product ID in the data source of the corresponding product type when traversing the details of each product. Therefore, we can easily get the product ID of the product clicked by the user to prepare for calling the create purchase intent interface. Step 1. Obtain the IAP client instance. Step 2. Create the purchase intent request instance. Assign the target product information, including product ID and the product type, to the member variable of purchase intent request. Step 3. Cut the purchase intent request interface. Similar to the get scope detail function, you need to distinguish between success and failure scenarios. Set a callback listening for them respectively. In the success scenario, the interface returns the execution result in the type of purchase intent request in task. Pull up the Huawei cashier interface by using the start resolution for result method of the status type. The IAP server will return the user's operation result on the cashier interface to the developer by calling back the onActivity result function of the activity. Note that the activity parameter here is the parameter when the developer calls the start resolution for result function to pull up the cashier page. Let's look at this part of process. In onActivity result, first, by using the parse purchase result info from intent method of IAP client, analyze the intent data to obtain the purchase result info object. Call it getReturnCode method to obtain the final result of the user's purchase. As you can see, there are several purchase results. First, order, state, cancel indicates that the user cancels the purchase. Second, order, product owned indicates that the user has already purchased the same product. Generally, this result happens when the user repeatedly purchases non-consumable, or the consumption interface is not called in time after the user purchases a consumable. Order state success indicates that the purchase is successful. First, verify the data signature in the purchase details by using the public key obtained by the developer in AGC. If the signature is successful, call the get in-app purchase data method of purchase result info to get the details of the purchased product. In-app purchase data, which is JSON string. Here, the demo resolves the product ID and starts delivery. If an consumable is purchased, the developer needs to call the consume purchase method, which is the consumption interface provided by IAP. It can be seen that the call of consume owned purchase is very simple. The purpose is to synchronize the delivery status of the order to IAP server. Huawei's IAP order omission prevention service is based on this operation of the developer, which has been emphasized many times. Well, that's all about create purchase intent related operations. Let's come to the last key point, obtain owned purchase record. Among IAP interfaces, two interfaces have similar names, obtain owned purchases and obtain owned purchases record. The two interfaces have different usage scenarios. First, let's talk about obtain owned purchases. It is mainly used in the following scenarios. 1. Query the consumables that have dropped. 2. Query the purchase history of non-consumables. 3. Query all the subscription relationships of current Huawei login users in the application. The application here refers to the application created by the developer in the AGC. Next, let's talk about obtain owned purchase record. It has only one usage scenario. Query the purchase history of the consumable and the renewal history of subscriptions. The following figure shows an example of the first usage scenario of obtain owned purchases. That is, query the consumable that have been dropped and make up the delivery. 1. The user starts the application. The application is initialized. 2. The developer calls obtain owned purchases to query the order exceptions of consumables. 3. The IAP server returns the result. 4. The developer makes up the delivery based on the result and updates the order status to delivered. 5. After the makeup delivery, the developer calls the consume owned purchase interface to update IAP server order status as delivered. 6. The IAP server returns the processing result. Let's look at the initialization in the demo. In the initialization operation of the stored interface, get the IAP client instance, create the owned purchase request object, and set price type as a consumable. Call the obtain owned purchases interface. In return result, obtain in-app purchase data of each product and send it to the consume owned purchase interface to update the order. Let's focus on how to obtain the product purchase history. In the purchase history interface of demo, the purchase history of consumables, non-consumables, and the renewal history of subscriptions are listed in the table. Let's see how this is implemented. Tables are implemented by using Recycle View. In the onCreate view of fragment, the purchase history of consumables is obtained first. Have you found that although there are many IAP interfaces, they are similar in use? There are 4 steps. 1. Get the IAP client object. 2. Create the request object. 3. Call the IAP interface. 4. 2 callback listening scenarios, success and failure, are set in the task returned from the interface. Here is no exception. Get the IAP client object. Create the own purchase request. Set price type to the consumable and called obtain owned purchase record method. In the success scenario, the in-app purchase data of each product is analyzed. Here, the demo reads the following attributes: trading time, commodity name, trading price, trading status. Parse the JSON data with the in-app purchase data method. Read these attributes from the JSON string one by one, and finally update them to recycler wheel. Then get the purchase history of non-consumables. The implementations are the same as those for consumables, except that the obtain owned purchases interface is called. Finally, let's see how to get the subscription relationship by using obtain owned purchases. The call method of obtain owned purchases is the same. The different lies in the processing of the data returned from the IAP server. Here, gets the content of the product ID and its sub-valid fields from the JSON string. Product ID identifies the subscription. The same application can have multiple subscriptions at the same time. Its sub-valid determines whether the subscription is active. Obviously, the purpose is to active value-added services according to the subscription relationship of the Huawei user who is currently logged in. After we have learned too much in the trading part, let's summarize. The following figure shows a typical payment process in the IAP. Can you see something strange? First, the only interface we haven't learned so far. The is in ready interface determines whether the service country of the Huawei account logged in on the current device is country or region where Huawei IAP payment service supports settlement. This interface is called as soon as the application is initialized. It does not require any parameters. If a failure scenario is returned, you need to determine the error type. For an error without logging in, the developer calls the start resolution for result method to pull out the login interface. This method is also used in this scenario of pulling up the cashier page. For details, visit the official website and have a try. If is nth ready returns a success scenario, the obtain owned purchases request is sent to Huawei IAP server to provide corresponding service to non-consumables and subscriptions, and execute makeup delivery and consumption for consumables. When a user opens the store interface, the product available for purchase are shown, and the obtain product info request is sent to the IAP server. When the user initiates a purchase request, the create purchase intent request is sent, carrying product ID and product type of the specified product in the parameter. Then, start resolution for result is called to pull up the Huawei IAP cashier page. If a consumable is purchased by the user, the consume-owned purchase request is called after delivery. For product consumption process, let's review what we've just learned about. First, we've introduced the three types of products in IAP service: consumables, non-consumables, and subscriptions. Then, we've introduced what preparations to be made before formal development, introducing AGC cloud configuration, sandbox test environment configuration, product import into the PMS, HMS SDK integration into the development environment. In the training part, we've mainly learned about obtain product info and create purchase intent. Obtain owned purchase record. It's a lot of content indeed. I hope that you can review what have been learned after class and learn something new at the official website of Huawei Developer Services. Huawei Developer Services is Huawei's open and cooperative platform for ecological partners. It aims to coordinate Huawei's global platform and industry chain resources and provide business development opportunities for Alliance members from aspects of application promotion, development support, application monetization, brand promotion, etc., so as to help Alliance members improve their cooperation and innovation capabilities in the field of mobile internet and create a superior experience for Huawei smartphone consumers to achieve win-win results. You are welcome to visit the official website of Huawei Developer Services. For any problems encountered during development, you can submit them to us through the online portal on the official website. Huawei technical experts will always be at your service. That's so much about this course. Thank you.